Are you ready?
Ready.
All right, let's go. Kevin here, top 1 financial advisor and best-selling author. We are here to talk about the stock market. The truth is, nobody is perfect, but there are some pieces of financial advice that are flat out terrible, and one of those I want to break down right now. So here's a tweet. I'm going to read it out, and you guys can see it here on the screen. But basically it says, they try to sell us on a 401k saying it's pre-tax, but the kicker is you will have to pay taxes when you use it, and you can't actually touch the money to live your current life. I recommend a savings account with the same routine, 15% of my check into a high yield savings account, or they say a high yielding account. Okay, this is bad on a bunch of levels. So I'm going to break down each of those. So the first thing is, it is pre-tax because I'm not paying taxes today. That's what pre-tax is. Okay, and let's say I'm doing this, I'm investing, putting in 15% of my salary for the next 30 years, the next 10 years, I ain't paying no taxes on it. Okay, that's what pre-tax means. Okay, the other part here is I can't actually use the money to live my current life. That's the point of saving, so that I can use it in the future. That's the point of investing as a whole, whether it's in real estate, whether it's through a savings account, investing. I'm doing it to have more money to use in the future, not my current life. That's what a checking account is for. If I want to go buy tacos today, that's what I'm doing it for. I don't want to invest for my current life, because if I do that and the market is down, then what, right? I'm not going to have the money to buy whatever it is I need to buy. If I'm trying to buy a car this week, and I'm going to have to do that between this week and next week, I'm not going to put it in the market. I wouldn't put it in a 401k either, because if it drops, that's not going to help me. Okay, so nobody is supposed to be investing for their current life. That doesn't make a whole lot of sense. So those are the base level misconceptions, and the first part why this is wrong. The second part is you have to pay taxes when you use it. That is true because it is pre-tax, which means I put it in now, I'm not paying taxes now, I will have to pay taxes once I take the money out. Fine. But you do realize that you do pay taxes on your savings account. Yeah, that's the thing. If you have enough in your savings account, you actually make money from it, you will get a 1099 the exact same way as if I had a regular taxable brokerage account. And I forget exactly what the IRS limit is, but it's relatively low. But if you make $25, $30, even $50, you will get a 1099. You will have to report those gains, and you might pay a few dollars in taxes. In most cases, this is not a big deal because most people don't have that much in savings to really have a gain worth caring about and worth being worried about a tax bill. But it does happen. I've gotten several 1099s, all very small amounts, because I'm not putting 15% of my salary in a savings. So that really kind of cancels out, right? You either not pay taxes by living in your 401k for several years, or you can pay taxes every single year on that amount of money. The worst thing about this is how savings accounts work. Right now in 2023, you can get a savings account like I did at American Express. I got an email today saying the rates are going up to 4%. 4% is solid. That is a good savings rate. But that's not how rates have been, or where rates have been over the last 10 or 15 years. The average rate that you used to be able to get was like 1.5%, maybe even 2%. And when the Fed cuts rates, just like we saw in 2020, what do you think is going to happen? Them savings accounts are going to go back down to whatever the norm is going to be. So yeah, right now 4% is solid, but it's not historically what rates have been. And when you compare it to the stock market at 7%, the difference is pretty large. So for example, let's say that you took this person's recommendations. Wouldn't do that if I were you, but if you were to do that, that means that you would take, let's just say $100,000, make everything just super simple for the math. You make $100,000, you put in 15%, $15,000, and you put in a high yield savings account giving you 4%. Let's say you did that for 30 years. You do it for 30 years, you're gonna get about $840,000. That's good. $840,000. I don't know anybody who's going to complain about that. Now, you would have paid taxes every single year. Inflation would have kind of gotten at you, because remember, on average, inflation is about 2%, maybe 3%, even though this year it's well over 6%. So, hey, there's that. You're going to be fighting inflation here, but you would have had about $840 if you just keep everything super simple and super clean. Well, the stock market on average after inflation is about 7%. Meaning if I did the exact same thing, took $100,000, invested 15%, then I'm going to have close to about $1.4 million. Do I want 1.4 million because I'm investing, or do I want the $840,000? Now, yeah, I would have had access to that money the entire time. Okay, so that's the benefit, but is it worth that gap, right? Would you rather have 1.4 that you can't touch until you're 59 and a half and you can pull it out then and pay taxes at that point in time? Or would you rather pay taxes every single year and have access to it the entire time, but you only have $840,000? That's the question you're going to have to ask. The thing, though, is, remember, retirement and financial freedom is all about putting the money together now so it can grow, and then you're able to use that and not have to go to work anymore. You're able to use that and not have to do, the 9-to-5 dance, the rat race, whatever it is you want to call it. And having 1.4 is going to last me a lot longer than just having 840,000. Okay, and then also remember human nature. That's one reason why Roth IRAs have certain rules, traditional IRAs have certain rules, and the 401k has certain rules, because it is very easy and tempting to say, oh, look, I have $800,000 here. Let me pull out for a new car. Let me pull out money to get something done on my house. Let me pull out money to do X, Y, and Z. And when you don't have those barriers, human nature takes its place, and you're going to have a lot less after 30 years. It's going to be difficult. Very difficult for you to sit there for 30 years in a savings account that you rarely have access to and never touch it. That is unrealistic for you to do that when it is right there on your app and super accessible. Versus something that's at a 401k, I gotta get my work computer, I gotta log in, I gotta request a withdrawal, and I gotta pay a penalty, and I gotta pay taxes. All that stuff discourages me, which means I should be a long-term investor and just leave it there and let it grow, which is a good thing, especially when you're talking about the stock market. So in no scenario is 15% of your salary, especially for the long term in a savings account, I can't squint my eyes and make that make sense. I'm sorry, it just doesn't. What I will say though, it is important to have a savings, and my recommendation, and this is not novel or new, is that 6 months of your rent, 6 months of your mortgage, even a year if you want to stretch it out that long, should be in a high yield savings account. That makes sense. You can go with Marcus by Goldman Sachs, American Express, I mentioned earlier, Ally, pick one. They're all paying pretty solid rates right now. And again, I want to have money there for emergencies. I got to buy a new car here pretty soon. Guess where that money is? High yield savings account. I had to get my debt done. Where do you think that money was in? High yield savings account. So you should absolutely have one for things, for emergencies and for longer term projects. But if you're trying to get rich over time, which is how most people do it, that 401k is going to be one of your biggest investment vehicles. Not the only one, but it's going to be one of your biggest. And what you don't want to do is not invest in that and go into something like a savings account. And I don't know the person who posted it, don't really care. But it does show me that you don't have a whole bunch of financial experience, because y'all know, especially if you are in your 30s and 40s, you know for a fact that savings accounts don't always pay 4%, right? They used to pay a whole lot back in the 80s. I wasn't there in the 80s like that, but y'all know that they used to pay a lot in the 80s. And really, once you hit the 90s and the 2000s up to right about now, bruh, anything over 1% was really, really good. This is not going to last forever, okay? I like 4%, but we know for a fact it's not going to last forever. So no, putting 15% in your savings account, even if it's a high yield account, is not going to be the best way to build wealth. All right, now you know. Okay, go ahead and hit the like and subscribe button. Also, if you have other terrible financial takes that you want me to react to, let me know in the comments. You can put the link to Twitter or TikTok or wherever it is in the comments below, and I will get to those as we continue this series. All right, that is it for me. I will talk to you later. Bye.